One of the biggest questions that I get and have gotten, and one of my biggest concerns, because though I am off grid, I do still work, was around power. Powering everything in my camper, from the refrigerator to electricity for lights to making sure that I can run my computer, the internet, all of that. So today I'm going to walk you guys through how I'm powering and what type of energy sources I have here at Uba. And I'm also going to talk really candidly about any of the products or sources that I have and how well I like them or how well they're working. So stick around and let's get into it. So first thing I'm going to do here is get down on the ground and show you what I have going on for solar. So for my solar setup, I went with a Jackery Explorer 2000 Plus. The reason I went with this one is because it has the RV hookup right on the generator here, and it also has the availability of an expansion battery, which you can see up here with all of my cords and stuff like that. And you can do more than one expansion battery. As you can see here, I have about 915 watts of power coming into the system here, which says that it's going to go from 55% to 2.7 within like 2.5 hours. It'll go from 55% to 100%. If you notice, my output is really, really low right now, so I'm not really using much power at all. The only thing that I'm really powering right now is the Starlink, which is connected, and let's see. Oh, and also I have the microwave that I talked about it before. It's plugged in behind the actual microwave itself, inside of the walls there, and so it is always draining that phantom power, keeping the lights on the microwave, the display, and things like that. So those are the only two things that are running right now. My laptop is charged, and my phone, I'm gonna get it plugged in here pretty soon, but I'm not running anything major like an air conditioner or anything like that in the moment. We'll go outside here in just a sec and look at the actual solar panels that I have as well. But real quickly, I want to talk a little bit about the Jackery and how it works. Keep in mind, I'm not sponsored by Jackery, so take that for whatever it's worth. I'm just going to be honest in my review here. So I have a DC power, where I could plug something in that was a 12 volt, 10 amp, like a car plug here. And then I also have two USB-A, so old school USB type plugs, and two USB-C type plugs. I'm not using either of those. In order to use anything on this side, on the DC side, I would need to turn on the DC option, which I don't have on. So I'm mostly using AC power, which is my RV plug here, which is the plug that comes out of the RV. I just have that running inside of the RV into this here. So anything that I plug in inside of the RV, into the outlets inside of the RV, are gonna run off of that. And then this has four AC 120 volt 20 amp plugs that I also have like a surge protector power strip that I can use as well. So if you'll notice, we got some overcast, so we dropped the input, and it's fluctuating between like 600 and 700 watts now. And so that, obviously, with anything with solar, is going to depend on how much sun you're getting, right? So the way that this is running right now, because I'm not pulling any power and I have more power coming in than I'm using, it's saying here, this will just run like this for hours and hours and hours if the sun never changed. if I completely lose sun, then it will tell me based on what my output is, how much time I have left to before it's drained. Once it goes over 99 hours, it goes down to 0 here, which is really saying that like it can run like this forever if nothing happened. One thing I like about this is it has an app. So the Jackery does have an app that I have on my phone, and I can see how much power is being produced, how much power is being expended. I can also turn off the system, like make it so that no power is being able to be used anymore. And it also will tell me how much I have in my backup battery pack as well. The backup battery is up on the seat there, like I showed you. And typically the backup battery has slightly less power than the Jackery generator itself. So if this is around like 55%, I imagine that it's going to be around like 49 or something like that. But I can double check in the app and I'll show you. It's just kind of sat there really weird. So now let's go outside and check out the panels themselves. So I have the panels set up around back here, and the reason is the way that the sun rises and sets currently at this time of year, this is getting me the most power throughout the day as possible. Right now, I will show you, it's a really cloudy day. So the sun I'm getting is just really in like bursts. And then you've got Koi over here who is over by these panels. So these panels are Jackery panels. I will say that I do feel like the Jackery panels are a bit expensive. And I didn't realize that I could use different panels with the Jackery because initially what I read said no, but I did learn later on that it is possible. And so, I maybe would have went with some less expensive panels, but you do have to make sure that the hookups are the right diameter and everything to fit into the Jackery. You have to make sure also that the voltage doesn't go over what the solar generator can take. So there's some calculations and measurements that you need to make sure that you do before you use panels that are outside of that. So let's look at the panels. So these are bifacial panels, and each panel is 85 watts. So these 6 panels on each of these arrays make up basically one 500 watt array. So the total max in absolute perfect conditions, the max power that these panels would be able to put out would be a total of 1,000 watts, all of them together. With that said, we'll talk a little bit about running the AC. I'll do that when I'm inside, and all of that. So I'll also tell you a little bit about what I use the electricity for. But let's jump over and talk about how I run the refrigerator and all of that. So the refrigerator and freezer and the stove and oven, as well as my water heater, all run off of propane. So with this setup that I got, chickies are talking to us. That's Hermione. She's talking. So with this rig that I got, it did come with these 2 propane tanks. It came with these 2, and I also had a couple extra laying around, so I have a couple of backups. One of these tanks here, just running what I just went over, the refrigerator, the freezer, the water pump, the stove, the oven. I don't do a lot of baking, so one of these will last right now about 2 weeks. Now, I want to keep in mind that right now I'm not using any heating So it's not cold, right? So I'm not using the heater, the furnace, which will use a lot more power, or propane. So I'm going to be supplementing these tanks here with a 120-pound tank that I'm gonna get from the propane people in town, and they will come up and fill it up for me, so that when we get to the winter, when it's gonna be really cold, I'll have more propane in order to be able to run the furnace, and things like that. So, well, I guess not things like that, just run the furnace, because I don't want to be freezing my tukis off. So there's also the RV battery, which, from what I've seen, my lights are running mainly off of the RV battery. I've tested it to where I turn the lights on and check the Jackery to see what power fluctuations I get, and get none. So that's telling me that the lights are running off of the 12-volt battery in the RV, which is good. As much as I can save on the solar power, the better. Because, as I said, let's get into talking about the air conditioner. I'm on a desert homestead. I'm in Arizona. I'm in northern Arizona, so it's not super hot up here. I'm not dealing with 116, 118, but there are warm days even since I've been here, and I have not had a great experience with air conditioning. So I want to share with you guys what I've experienced, and talk a little bit more about what I plan to do going forward to be much more comfortable from a cooling standpoint. All right, so I promised to talk about the air conditioning situation. I did buy a portable, like, rolling air conditioner. Ended up getting the one on the RV. So what ended up happening was, okay, so this RV is a 2011. And the AC was working. I tested it out when I bought it and everything, obviously. But 2011 is a number of years ago, and once we got up here, there were a couple of things that were happening. So one, with the Jackery generator, the solar generator, what was going on was it was powering the AC on, and then as the AC started to surge, so with an air conditioning unit, there is the load that it uses, so the number of watts that it'll use per hour, and then there's a surge load that is the amount of watts that it needs to start up, right? And so usually that's somewhere from 2 to 3 times the normal load. So this particular AC uses 1500 watts, but so that means that the surge is going to be somewhere around 3000 or 4500. The Jackery that I have handles 3000 watts and a surge up to 6000 watts. So there shouldn't have been any issues. But what kept happening is it kept tripping the actual in the inverter. It kept shutting down the generator, the solar generator. And so I reached out to Jackery and I talked to them about it, and they basically confirmed, after I sent them videos and we went through it, they confirmed that this wasn't how it was supposed to be operating, and to just send them back the Jackery and they'll send me a new one. Well, easier said than done when you're in the middle of the desert and it's your only source of power. And so then I went and I got a gas generator, because I was like, okay, well, let's just get the gas generator. I didn't want a gas generator because one of the things I love about out here is just how quiet it is. And the gas generator just really disrupts that. The solar generator is noiseless, and that's beautiful for me. But I went and I got the gas generator, and there was another warm day, so I got it going and turned the AC on, and it's running the AC fine, and the AC is running just great. But then I noticed that I've had a lot of air conditioning training, not because I am an HVAC technician or specialist at all, but because I've had a lot of air conditioners go out on me over the years in the summer in Phoenix. Just replaced the AC on my house last year, actually. And so what was happening was the AC would come on, and I would hear the compressor come on, and it would be blowing cold air, and then it would cycle and it would be blowing warm air. And it kept doing that. It would go cold air for a few minutes, and then I would hear the compressor shut off, and then it would be blowing warm air. So I was like, okay, it's not supposed to be doing that. So I call these guys, RV doctors, and they come out. And I was really grateful that they came out to my off-grid property to look at my AC, because I, you know, watched so many YouTube videos, and I tried to figure out what was going on, and I just couldn't. So they get up there, they check it out, and they basically said there's a couple of things. So one, the fan was broken up there, and the fan blade, not the fan motor. And so there was basically no fan, nothing cooling it. And so they're like, well, you could replace that. And maybe that's why the compressor kept cycling off, because it was overheating and then cycling off. Or you can replace the entire unit. To replace the whole unit, it was gonna be like $1,700. The fan is just a cheap part. But there was no real indication that was going to fix the problem. And so I made the decision to get a window, not a window AC. It's like a floor standing AC on wheels, that I could use instead. And, that was a little more than half, like a little less than half of the price. So it was like a third of the price. Right. So I did that, and I ran that, and it worked really well. Cooled the space. Everything was working great. Wasn't like overusing power or anything like that. And then the next day it rained, and then the next day it rained, and now it's been highs in the low to mid 80s since. And with the windows open, I think it got up. I think it got up to 90 one day, but even at 90, with all of my windows open, there's a cool breeze, and it's like perfect temperature, and I just didn't need the AC. So then I haven't used it since. And as I look at the weather, I may not even use it again until next summer. And so it's like, what is the benefit of me spending that money? And so now I have something for emergencies. And I really am more focused on getting a large propane tank, like a 120-gallon tank up here, which I'll, as I mentioned, I'll have installed. And that will give me more bandwidth for the furnace in the winter. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, about the AC, electricity, power. I am still not super clear on whether or not the Jackery would have done well with the RV AC. The AC that I got does use a little bit less power. So that's not clear if it would have or not. And I let Jackery know, well, I can't just send you back this unit. It's working for everything else, and it's my only real source of power that I want running 24 hours a day. I don't want a generator running 24 hours a day, and also a generator's expensive to run that much. Gas isn't cheap. And so that's where I'm at with that. So at the end of the day, right now, I have the electricity that I need to be comfortable. And I have the electricity that I need to do the different tasks that I am doing around. I'm actually heading back to Mesa to grab some other things. And like I said, if you watch some of my other videos, I opted to do a bit of a slower move because I'm still trying to get my house rented out. And so I didn't like bring all of my stuff. And so I'm heading down to get my table saw, my miter saw, some supplies, and a few other things from the house, and in order to be able to do some bigger projects and have all of the tools that I need. So with that said, this whole week I've had windows open, enjoying the breeze, doing things outside. I took out the dinette set, and one of the things that I'm picking up, I had some packages delivered. So a chainsaw and also a post hole digger, so that I can start putting up some fencing also, and a small desk that I got to sit in the space where the dinette set was, and also be able to have a bigger pantry area and just be more comfortable. That dinette set is just so bulky, and as I've, watched other people living in RVs, it's like one of the biggest and first things that people do is just getting rid of that dinette set, on a lot of channels that I watch, and people that I've spoken to, because it's just so bulky. It's very unfunctional. And already just having it out has been so much better. I just feel so less cluttered. And obviously this is a very small space. So I want to use the space wisely. Stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, share it. Shoot me some comments. If you have questions or comments or advice, leave it in the comments. And just keep an eye out. I've got more coming on the way. I'm planning on getting a delivery of a load of pallets to be able to use for some building projects. So keep watching Uba, and we'll be starting the gardening soon. We'll be starting building swales. We'll be starting doing some Zuni bowls and things along those lines, and getting a lot of the indigenous farming practices and land management practices put in motion. So keep watching, keep embracing Uba, and we'll see you next time. So it's been a couple hours since I started recording, and I just wanted to show a quick visual of the dramatic change hour by hour up here. And so right now, as you can see, and I hope the wind's not too bad. If it is, I'll figure that out. I don't have my microphone on, but just the dramatic change hour by hour, minute by minute, as the rain starts coming back in. I almost went into town. I'm glad I didn't, because I need to dig my hole anyways, a project that I'm working on. So I figured, let me dig the hole before I go and get the supplies to finish the project. But just wanted to share, and it's gotten pretty chilly out here, and I am from Phoenix, so I'm gonna head back inside, keep working, but wanted to give just a quick idea of how quickly the weather can shift.